don't know. You got all the top here. Oh, Canada. Put on a suit, drink water. Don't drink and drive. Hey, man, call your mother.
It means nothing. It means nothing.
No, they lying to you. It's about the money.
Now you're more fluent.
I feel like I'm forgetting something.
Nope, Tone, you got everything. You do.
I don't know what it is, but I feel there's like something. There's something's not right. That being said, we're gonna start off right off the bat. I'm not even waiting. How you doing, man? I just saw you a couple hours ago, so it's like right. I think that's why I want to jump right in, because this I gotta ask, because I don't know how I feel about this. And I you keep me honest.
Mm-hmm.
How to tip your server.
Mm-hmm.
Your bill is $107.53. So that means you and I had lunch at McDonald's.
Sure.
Or your favorite vegetarian fast food establishment.
Mm-hmm.
Move the decimal over 1 to make it 1075. Times it by 3. And your total is 139.78. So they want 30% tip. I'm assuming regardless of the service. How do you feel about that?
I hate it. First and foremost, what you're trying to do is you're trying to shame me into tipping. Tipping is a courtesy. Tipping is not mandatory. Okay, that's number one. It is not. Okay. It's a courtesy. Number two, customarily 18 to 20%. That's what you tip, Tone. 30%, no, we're not doing that. Fourth, the bill is $107. What's 10% of 107?
1075.
Plus 2. 20. Plus, what's that? What's that? 21.50. That's the tip. There's your tip right there. 21.50. 20%.
You know. Here's the thing. Here's why I struggle. Okay. 1. I understand why someone who's working in that industry is desperate. It's sometimes they don't act that way, but are desperate for tips, because in most cases they get paid below minimum wage.
Sure.
And where they actually make their income is tips.
And they work a lot of hours too, by the way.
And they work a lot of crazy hours. However, we've created this tipping society, and we've allowed, in most cases, there's some exceptions, but in most cases, don't tell me about the mom and pop shops, I'm talking about in most cases, where people who are, especially chain restaurants, that if we go look at their income statements, they're making a very good chunk of change.
100%.
You know what I didn't notice? I gotta ask. Yeah, see, I knew it. See,
I always gotta
turn your microphone. Here we go.
You hear me better now. That whole last interview with the basketball reference. So we've allowed these, especially in chain restaurants, these companies, these corporations that are making millions and millions of dollars,
right,
to get away with paying their people who work super hard substandard wages, with the onus being on the everyday guy and gal and other to pay their tip. And now, by no fault of their own, they're like, it's not enough because inflation and everything's more expensive. So now the 10% tip needs to be 15. Now it's 20. Now it's 25. Now it's 30, 50, 100%. Just double your bill.
Right.
And they don't feel they're doing anything wrong because, well, they need to eat. They need to survive. Like some of them can't even afford to eat in the restaurant they're working at.
Right. Which they get charged too, by the way, when
100%.
Yeah, I'm not eating for free here. No, I'm
not.
And
so I get it on that side, but the side is this. Should we not all collectively come together and start putting the onus on the restaurant owners to pay them the properly? Tips used to be optional. Do you know what a restaurant takeout asking for a tip?
How about that? So like the pizza delivery dude, like Domino's or whatever.
No. I ordered food. I went and picked it up.
Oh, you go get it. So they ain't. So okay. So they're not bringing it to your crib. Okay.
I
I
went
ordered
there
some
to the
Chinese
counter.
food.
All they did was cook it, put it in the package, and bring it to the
And now
counter.
they want you to tip them for that.
And they want me to tip me for
Nope.
making my food.
No.
And I'm just like, if we've got, and I mean, everywhere. Go get a haircut. Gotta give a tip.
Mm-mm.
Go get. What up? Check out the fresh turn.
Uh-oh.
Turn.
My
No.
dude got a fresh one. When'd you get your haircut?
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Shout out to Ultimate Fades. What? You doing what?
Nothing.
Okay. You going to bed?
No.
Oh, okay. Go play
Why
Fortnite.
you
Go
think
kill
it's
somebody.
wrong?
Yeah, it's basketball team pictures tomorrow. So
Oh,
get a haircut. Yeah.
fresh.
Right?
Gotta
Like
get fresh for that.
everything we do. I'm surprised the grocery store isn't like I go check. I do self checkout tip. I'm up. Is that
You
self?
just said it, Tone. Haircut, going out to eat, all of that stuff. I got to
Everything we
tip
do.
for everything, which is why I become more self-sufficient. I don't even know how much a haircut. Tone, how much does a haircut cost today? When you go to the barber, how much does a haircut cost?
Don't ask.
Oh my god.
Don't ask. It's I'm gonna round down so that people don't judge me. $50
So $50 for a haircut. And how often do you get your haircut, Tone?
every 3 weeks.
So about it.
And
So that's
him more often, and it ain't that much cheaper.
right. So that's a month. So in addition to him, so you and him, so let's say him $30. So that's $80 a month in haircuts. So times that by
It's more than that, but yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So I'm giving a round number, $80.
Yeah.
So times that by 10, that's $960 a year just on getting a haircut.
Yeah.
Just on getting your haircut. I cut my own hair, Tone. I've cut my own hair since 2002. My barber passed away. I ain't really trust nobody else to do it. He's been cutting my hair since I was in
You
the
do
first
it
grade.
yourself?
I cut my own hair. I've been cutting my hair since 2002. Like I said, Tone, my barber passed away. He had been cutting my hair since I was in first grade. I didn't trust anybody else to do it, so I felt like I had to learn
That's
how
a
to do it
win right
myself.
there. That's a win
I had to
right
learn.
there.
I haven't been in a barbershop in over 20 years, Tone. I don't know. When you talking about,
Well, you haven't been in one for a haircut. Have you been in one? Because you're missing some good conversations.
I have not been in a barbershop in over 20 years. I have
Really?
not, Tone. That's a fact, Tone. I have not been in a barbershop in over 20 years. So when I think about tipping, again, maybe it's because I'm getting older. I think that this stuff, they're trying to put the onus on us when the onus needs to be more on the bosses. Yo, pay your employees more. How am I surviving on $3 an hour?
And that's the
expecting
thing.
us to make it up. What the hell is
Because
that, man?
the same reason servers justifiably, I'm saying they do deserve more.
$3
The
a
same
day
reason
now.
they're asking for more in tips is because everything's more expensive. Well, it's all the same people who are eating there who like are going through the same thing.
Right.
So just when I saw that, I was like, man, like I get it, but there's also right and wrong way to ask for something. So like you didn't see in the bottom of that. I don't think it said it. It didn't say it. So where I saw that posted, I just grabbed the picture. Where I saw it posted, it actually said, and if you can't afford that, don't
Shouldn't
come
be
out
here.
to eat.
Don't go out to eat. That's what
Don't
it
go out
said.
to eat. So I'm like, so now you're also being like rude about it at the same time, which I think is just. Oh yeah, no, it did say it. If you can't, no, I'm not bad. It does say right at the bottom. I'm sorry. It says right at the bottom. If you cannot afford this, then do not go out to eat. Crazy.
So not only.
So you know what happens if I don't go out to eat though? They don't need as many servers. You're out of a job.
Now you ain't got a job. Now you don't have a job right there. Now you finished. So Tone, what you telling me now is you telling me not only when I come out do I have to tip you, but if I don't, I shouldn't go out to eat at all.
At all.
You're gonna ridicule me.
Stay home.
Not coming to your spot. I shouldn't go out eating nowhere. I should just keep my ass in the house and order. And even if I order takeout, I gotta tip them too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Of course.
So I gotta tip them too.
And let's be very clear. I'm okay tipping, and I am traditionally a very high tipper.
Sure.
I always laugh when people force a tip on me. Like there's certain places where it's like, well, you have to have this, and I'm like, wow, you guys gave me really good service. I would have given you more. But at the same time, I had a guy. I won't name the name of the restaurant. Got every single order wrong. There was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of us.
Yep.
Got all 6 orders wrong.
Oh my god. All
Spilled
six,
water.
like
All-
not one or two.
Not one
All
order was correct. One, in fact, was for a child who is lactose intolerant, was given a cheeseburger, said, "Excuse me, it was supposed to be just a burger. Can you respectfully, can you just,
Sure.
whatever?" And you know what they did? They took the cheeseburger, scraped
They took the cheese off.
and flipped it upside down. And I said, as a joke, because you know me, I go, "You know what they probably did, right?" And they're like, "What?" I go, "I bet you they just scraped it off and flipped it upside down." And they're like, "No way, they wouldn't do that." They look up. What did they see on the bottom? All the remnants of the cheese. Spilled our drinks. Didn't refill with anything. Everything that could have been wrong. Still gave him a little tip. Because it's still, I understand. So I'm that guy, and I'm telling you, this, like, don't go out to eat is wrong.
I got a tip. I got a tip for you. Give better service. How about that?
I got a tip for you. Beautiful. Do you know who this is?
No.
That was the star of the Jake Paul,
Oh, the chick holding up the
the Jake Paul fight. This was the star. I believe her name is Sydney Thomas.
Yeah, she was holding up the numbers, the round numbers.
Yes. So that is Sydney Thomas. Sydney, if you don't know, got a very interesting tweet, or I guess I don't know if I guess it's a reply to that posting that said, and I'll read it out to you. "Check your DM, shoddy," by Zion Williamson, who she then replied, "Huh? Who are you?" Hold on, huh? "Who are you calling shorty? I'm good. Enjoy your recovery."
What?
He shot his shot. It got rejected, but
That's exactly what happened. She was like, "Get your ass out of here."
I haven't seen anyone block a shot like that since Mutombo.
No. I'm not gonna be your next baby mama. I don't think so. She's not trying to hear that. She is not interested in that at all. And I don't blame her.
Who are you? And proper grammar, not even who are you calling? I could hear her voice. "Who are you calling shorty?"
Yeah.
I don't care if it's fake. No, I don't think it's fake. It looks pretty.
What the hell?
Beautiful. That was the best response I've ever seen. So let's bounce from crazy dude to crazy chick. And then I promise, guys, we got a lot of basketball to talk about. We got a lot of basketball to talk about. But I want to get my stories out of the way first. So I want you to really pay attention to this video. Really pay attention to this video. Do you know who Jersey is?
I don't.
Apparently a high school phenom basketball player. No? We'll get there.
Against Ant, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to play against Ant. And then
First to 11, you versus Ant.
right now.
How many points are you putting up? Yeah, right now. 16-year-old Jersey. So, like, not you in the
16-year-old me.
future, like now.
Who's getting ball first?
Good question. Maybe
You
rock,
are.
paper,
You
scissors,
getting the
shoot
ball
it.
first. You are.
Who's getting ball first?
You are. You get the ball first.
Does it matter?
No, it doesn't. But okay, you get the ball first.
You got ball first.
I don't know.
Okay,
We'll
if
see.
I get ball 1st,
I just want to be clear. Me versus Ant today. I get ball first 11 times. It's 11-0. But let's continue with Jersey.
I'm going to say 11-10 me.
Ant,
Oh.
if you're hearing this, come on.
I'm
we can do it
always
on
say
phone.
I'm
Let's all
always say
moderate.
me. I'm
You're
always say
I like
me.
that. I
And it's
like
going to
that.
be me till it's proven wrong.
Yes.
So.
You want it to be proven wrong? Play a game. Are you kidding me?
I like her confidence though. She's dope. I will say that, Tone. I love her confidence, and we live in that. We live in that.
You call it confidence. I call that delusion.
Oh, 100%. It's delusion, but you can be confident and be delusional at the same time. Two things can be true, Tone. You can 100% be confident. You could go into the ring against Mike Tyson like, I'm gonna whoop Mike Tyson ass, knowing for a fact, you gonna get your ass whooped. No doubt about it.
This is what's crazy is people in here being like, she's dope, she's good. I'm not saying she's not good, but no 16-year-old anything is beating Ant in a one-on-one at today. 16-year-old you versus today Ant. Are you nuts?
First of all, you ain't that much younger than him. Let's start there. So it's not like
Yeah, it's not like listen, if someone said, okay, Jordan's 69 years old,
Right.
and I'm in my prime, I think I could take him. Okay, I'm okay. I sure.
Jordan at 62 years old, a 21-year-old me, I'll kick Jordan ass.
Sure.
Yes, I would.
Sure. 16 versus a prime, not even about to be a young man.
I
Nah.
don't think so.
Nah.
I don't think so.
Like
No
Jake,
way.
let's be honest. The only reason Jake Paul even lasted 8 rounds against Mike Tyson was because the man's how old is he? 68, 58? How many years?
58, and on top of that, Tone, we had a deal.
Yeah, we had a deal.
We had a deal. That's why.
Prime Mike, I've said this before. Prime Mike hit him so hard, his nose is back here.
He would have dropped him. Wait, in fact, he had to call him. He had to call the dogs off. Like, hey, relax.
I like that. We're gonna see
So
that one day, like the way that Steph and Sabrina did the 3-point comp at the All-Star game. We're gonna see Jersey versus Ant, a little 1v1. I'm excited for that.
Boy.
I just my favorite part of this is this.
And then
First to 11, you versus Ant.
right now,
How many points are you putting up? Yeah, right now. 16-year-old Jersey. So like not you in the
16-year-old me.
future, like now.
who's getting ball first?
Who's getting ball first?
You are.
That's my favorite part. That is my favorite part, is the fact that she had to ask who's getting ball first. Like that would matter.
You are. You got the ball first. And not only do you get the ball first, if you score, you can have it. If I score, you can still have it.
Right. It's you out every time.
Yeah, it's you out every time.
You
Whether
out
I
every
score or you don't. You're not beating me one-on-one. I promise you that. You're not. Mm-mm.
Do you have any insight into I'm not saying you should or shouldn't, I'm just asking. ESPN having inside the NBA? And
I don't have any insight on that. I have heard that Stephen A. Smith will not be a part of that.
That's fantastic. I love that.
Yeah, Stephen A. Smith will not be a part of that. I'm not sure what they're doing with Ernie though, because Ernie still does baseball on TNT. So
I feel like they've made an agreement though, so he's like on loan.
right.
Right. They receive these football games, these college football and college basketball games in return for TNT allowing these for. But I've also heard Shaq does not have a deal as of yet.
Not yet. Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
So right now it's Ernie who's going to be on loan, Chuck
Charles.
and Kenny who have existing deals with TNT. So and they have to re-sign the Diesel.
Which this doesn't work without him, by the way.
No, I was going to say it. Now there was a version of this before Shaq got on board. Was it Chris Webber?
Yes, and then it was they had a bunch of variations of guys. They had Jalen Rose on it.
Yeah,
Webber.
There was some turnover in there.
They had a bunch of different guys, but they ended up making the right trade and they ended up signing the right guy. And Shaq works.
Yes,
Ernie is the moderator. Charles is the funny fat guy. Kenny is the insightful guy. Shaq is the star, and the thing rolls. That's the way it works. You can't bring in another player and it doesn't work. No, it doesn't work like that. Mm-mm.
That's fine.
And they've been together since like 2011, something like that.
Yeah. Once you got something that's working, and yes, I agree. With, if I can say, let me find it quickly. Yes, Joe McAtack. You're 100%. We should have an ESPN deal. You're right. Like I don't see why. Like we're not greedy. Stephen A. Smith gets what, 120 million?
I don't know if it's that much, but it's close. It's in that neighborhood.
Yeah, he can deal with 10 less. 5 and 5,
I was thinking like 20 less. I think that'd be good for him. He's still living the
Yeah,
same.
see, you're being greedy. Now you're being greasy. I'm not being greedy. As a part-time job, just as a part-time job, 5 I think is part-time. It's only one night a week. I think we're worth $5 million for one night a week.
Get this dude out of here. I don't have time for him. Every day is something with him. Tone, we got to do it in the chat.
Ooh.
Noman Khan is his name. So
Okay.
every day he's calling me out for something that I said. So here we are today. Chill, you said the Lakers were going to make a deep run this year. Have the playoffs started yet, Tone?
The Lakers are going to make a deep run this year. What did they tell them?
Whoa. Have the playoffs started already, Tone?
It's day one. They started day one, and they're doing just fine.
We haven't seen that. Meanwhile, this is the same dude who I haven't heard a peep out of him since his Warriors. The engine is on fire. I think they dropped 4 straight, something like that. And Buddy Hield is be turned back into a pumpkin, but I haven't heard a word from him about that. But meanwhile, you said that they were going to make a deep run. First of all, the playoffs haven't even started yet.
They're right where they want to be. They're right where they want to be.
And my exact words, Tone, were, if you can avoid Denver, I love their chances. That's what I said. Exactly. That's not sort of kind of what I said. Those are my exact words. I said, if you can avoid Denver, I love your chances. That's
you have said that. You have said that. Super chat from Full Metal Quirk. Speaking of the Lakers, look at what a great segment. What do the Lakers need to do? I keep hearing Levine. Now I'm hearing Ingram. What really helps them?
Tone, I'm gonna say something ridiculous, but I'm not sure that I think that there's some people that agree. Like, I hear people talking about the trade between the Lakers and the Hawks for Trae Young. I think you're asking for the wrong guy, Tone. Ask for Dyson Daniels, because that's what you need.
Yes.
Ask for him.
Yes.
Ask for Dyson Daniels instead. Don't ask for Trae Young. Trae Young's not the guy that you need. Ask for Dyson Daniels. And tell Atlanta, because if I'm not mistaken, he's still on his rook deal. Yeah. Tell Atlanta, whatever you want, you can have it. Whatever you want. Because everybody's available. It's not like there isn't anybody available. Everybody is available. Ask for Dyson Daniels instead. Do not ask for Trae Young. He's not the one. Ask for Dyson Daniels.
What year is this? What year is this for him?
2. Yes.
It was 2 months into the season last year. I had no idea who this rookie was. And Fluent Jr., remember, came to us and said Dyson Daniels is going to be an all-NBA / all defensive player in this league by year 5. I don't think he's wrong.
He 100%.
I was like, I have no idea who. I said, who's Dyson Daniels? And he's like, let me show you, Dad. And I'm like, damn.
And I was wrapped up in Herb Jones. That's why I wasn't paying attention to him. Yeah, I'm stuck on Herb Jones. Meanwhile, they got another all-league defender on the crew who the reason why he's not playing as much because they got Herb down there. It's not because he can't play. It's because they got Herb. So if you calling up Atlanta instead of and by the way, he's on a really good deal. He's on a rook deal.
Yeah.
So
I think that's actually gonna be the thing that stops it.
Why?
Because they want him and they got him on the cheap. So you don't want to get rid of a guy that you have on the cheap has high. When someone outplays their contract, that's the guy you want to keep. That's not the guy you want to trade. However,
if the Lakers give them an offer that they can't refuse, which
I agree. And listen, I would shore up the 2 spots, right? I would go Dyson Daniels, and I know that there's a deal on the table. I know this is there. And look, I know it's going to not sound appealing, but it's right now it's Gabe and a second rounder for Jonas Valanciunas. Because I think they need that. I see Anthony Davis when he plays next to a big, he looks significantly better. Even if it's JaVale McGee, even if it's older, not himself, Dwight Howard, he looks better when there's a service.
A legit five.
Not even I'm not talking all-star 5. I'm
just a legit one.
Just a guy who can actually play minutes. That's what I see. So I like both of those moves 100%. The next thing. There's so many things to talk about. So, okay, we're on the Lakers, so let's stick on the Lakers. Anthony Davis.
Yep.
Anthony Davis believes that he should be a defensive player of the year.
He should have been at some point.
Or he should have been. Yes. Anthony Davis doesn't understand why he hasn't won defensive player of the year in his career. So do you agree or disagree with him?
Well, I'm thinking about the years that the defensive player of the year he was up for it. And I remember hearing Rudy say the years that Rudy Gobert won the defensive player of the year, what years should I have not won it? So the year that I'm thinking about specifically for Anthony Davis I want to say 18. I think he finished third that year in Defensive Player of the Year. That was the year that Rudy won Defensive Player of the Year. He was on that New Orleans team. They were fantastic defensively. But when I think about what they had in New Orleans, I mean, they had a really good defense. And it had a lot to do with Anthony Davis. I'm not going to argue that. But Drew Holiday was down there. Rondo was down there. So that had a lot to do with them being as good as they were defensively. He was the anchor on that crew. He was a much better rim protector. He was more of a roamer still at that point. He was more athletic. He guarded the rim a lot better. He sped them up in terms of transition. He was good weak side help, kind of like he is right now. But the year that I think he had a legit case to win it was with the year that y'all went to the West Finals, Tone, in 23. Even though he had missed some, even though he had missed some time. I mean, I saw Rudy win, and he played 55 games. So I don't think that it's ridiculous for me to think that he could have won it that year.
In a year where, so he finished third. And we'll talk about that 17-18 one first. So he finished third. Mm-hmm. Rudy won it. Embiid was second. Davis was third. Paul George was fourth, and Al Horford was fifth. Yep. In that year, this actually goes. It's actually funny. This actually does go to Anthony Davis. One of the things that I look at, which was Rudy Gobert only played 56 games. Mm-hmm. Embiid played 63 games. Anthony Davis played 75.
Yes, he did.
And I know games played isn't a stat that people look at, but I say it's if you playing right, that ability, that availability to me, it is important. I'm sorry, I think it's easier to do more in less games. Like per game.
Oh, first of all, Anthony Davis only got that soft tag when he came to Los Angeles. Okay, yeah, 5 of the 6 years that he played in New Orleans, he played almost 70 games per season. I think he averaged 68 games a year. And that last year, they shelved him to trade him. He wasn't hurt.
Right.
They shelved him specifically to trade him. So he got that soft tag when he came to Los Angeles. He was never soft. And he played a lot more than people give him credit for.
1.5 steals per game. And listen, I'm going to do basic stats, advanced stats, and then we talk about his defense. However, 1.5 steals per game, Embiid 0.6, Gobert 0.8, 2.6 blocks per game, Embiid 1.8, Rudy 2.3. So not only did he play more games, he averaged more per game in those additional 20 games that he played over Gobert. His defensive win share was 4.9. Gobert's was 3.9, Embiid 3.8. Your favorite, the defensive box plus minus. Your favorite 1.4, Embiid 1.3. The only thing that would stop them, and I'm going to look it up right now, is the Pelicans were the 14th ranked defense in the league.
That's the difference.
Utah,
I think
he was the winner, was the
I think they were third that year.
Second ranked defense in the league.
Okay.
And that's why I keep telling people the way they pick defensive player of the year is not the best defensive player. So get that out of the window. Throw that out the window. It's just like MVP is not the best player, right? So defensive player isn't the best player. It's the one who statistically, and although he led statistically, basic statistics, advanced statistics, and on the better team, which I think is ridiculous because your individual defense can be great. If you play with 4 dudes that can't defend, your team defense is going to stink. But that shouldn't take away from what you mean to that team, because if you take away Anthony Davis off that 14th ranked defense, where are they? 30th?
Okay, so we average with him. That's what we are.
You're
average with him. We're essentially average with him. Now, do we go to the bottom of the league with him? Without him, I don't think we go to the bottom of the league, Tom, because we do have some other defensive players. We got Drew Holiday on the crew. We got Rondo on the crew, right? So we do have some players here that are pretty good players that are on the crew. So I don't think we go to the bottom of the league, but if we're going back to the defensive player of the year, it's very much like the MVP. When was the last time the best defensive player in the game won the defensive player of the year? When I think about it, let's see. Jaren Jackson was not. Yes, Olajuwon in '94.
Okay, you have to go back 30 years.
Yeah, Olajuwon in '94. I'm I'm not sure that Lonzo Mourning was the best defensive player in the game in 2000. I'm not sure that. I can't say with 100% certainty that he was. Kevin Garnett the best defensive player in 2004? Was he the best defensive player in the game? Considering who was in the game, Tone, with Ron Artest, with Tim Duncan.
He might have been the best defensive big, and I use big in quotes because that's also the thing. It is always skewed to the big.
Was he better than Ben Wallace at that point? I mean, it was arguable.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
It was arguable that he was better than Ben Wallace. So when Tone, when I'm thinking about when I think about the best defensive player in the game, I think about what you bring to your crew. So in 21, when Rudy won the Defensive Player of the Year, they were a bottom 5 team when he was off the floor. When he was on the floor, they had the best defense in the league. Number 1. Last season, same, not the bottom 5, but they weren't nearly as effective without Rudy on the floor as they were with him on the floor in Minnesota. And their defense has clearly suffered this year in Minnesota. But when I think about Anthony Davis as the Defensive Player of the Year, what team have you been on that you have effectively made them significantly better as a defense? The Lakers in 23. That's the team that I'm thinking about because I think you can make the argument at that point, that second half of the season, Tone, I want to say right after the All-Star break, I think they had the best defense in the league. And they had the best defense in the playoffs. They just ran into Joker. That was the problem. They just ran into Joker.
I know this has no weight into the Defensive Player of the Year voting, but even in that year that we were just talking about, he also carried a significantly bigger offensive load than Rudy Gobert did. So I think that's something that's important as well, is that, he's doing all the, like, if I told you Anthony Davis had better statistics, steals and blocks, better win shares, better, everything else is advanced stats, regular stats, and he was responsible for the team's offense, whereas Gobert was not. I don't see how you don't say he should be the winner.
Well, wait a minute though, Tone. If I have more responsibility, because again, what we're talking about here is we're talking about the Defensive Player of the Year. Now,
I understand.
And if I have more responsibility offensively, sure, that may hamper me defensively because I got more responsibility offensively. But if you don't have as much responsibility, you don't have much responsibility offensively, and you're not playing up to where I am defensively, then I don't think that we should have a conversation about it.
But it's the opposite. So if you and I, statistically, both regular and advanced stats are equal, let's call it equal, even though Davis was actually above, but let's say they're equal. So you and I are equals in terms of defensive responsibility and statistics. You and I are equals. I play more minutes. I have a much larger offensive responsibility. So not only am I doing the same as you defensively, but I also have these added responsibilities that you don't. So you can focus on defense
primarily.
You're still below. You should lose, right? Like I always tell you with Michael Cooper, and I love Michael Cooper. I love Coop. However, he's playing 24, 26, 28 minutes a game, and his sole responsibility is defense. He should have better numbers. He should do more because he's playing. He should be fresh all the time, and he doesn't have to worry about one side of the court. So if there's a guy that's neck and neck with him who's playing 34 minutes and they're scoring or doing whatever on offense, for me, I'm like, well, that's the guy, because imagine what, and I get it. I'm saying the word imagine, so right off the bat, but imagine what he could do if all he had to do was focus on defense.
Right. Now, with the numbers that you just brought up, because when I think about, again, simple statistics, I mean, Tone, just so we clear, Dennis Rodman never led the league in steals. He never led the league in blocks at any point. And he was arguably the best defensive player in the game, even though Jordan was running around, even though Scottie Pippen was running around, even though David Robinson was running around, even though these guys were running around. So I can appreciate the stats, but the stats get skewed sometimes because, again, I can bring up guys like LeBron James.
How many times Dennis Rodman Defensive Player of the Year?
Twice. He won it in 90. He won it in 90 and in 91.
Won
it in back-to-back seasons.
How many years was he the best defensive player in the league?
I think he was the best defensive player. And to be honest with you, I'm not sure that he was ever better than Olajuwon. I can't say with 100% certainty that he was better than Olajuwon, but I think.
Let's say top 3. Let's say top 3. Would you say 5 years, 7 years, 10 years?
So I'll say from 88, he showed up at 86. So I'll say from 88 to 95. I think he was a top 3 defensive player.
So for 7 years, he was a top 3 defensive player, and he got 2.
Yeah.
And he had how much offensive responsibility? Remind me again.
Zero.
You basically were paying 4 on 5.
Even though he could score, but that wasn't my job. My job was to defend and rebound.
That was not his job. So if there was someone who was putting in what he was doing, and they had some offensive responsibility, for me, I'm just saying I would give the edge to the person who was doing more, even though I know that has nothing to do with defense. But again, I've played basketball. I know how tiring it is, right? And I know I'm an offensive player, right? And I know on defense, I'll take a break every once in a while. I know I shouldn't. I know, but it's hard. So for someone to do it on both ends of the court, it's harder
at an elite level. By the way,
at an elite level, it's hard.
Yeah,
it's hard. That's all I'm saying.
And I don't want to discount, because to your point, you just talked about everything that you were doing. You're here. I don't want to discount him going to the Lakers and that being a knock against him and him having the soft tag on him. I don't think for 1 second that with the media feeling that way about him, that went into it. Rudy may have something of that, but when you look at the numbers and the stuff that he produced and his team being as good as they were defensively, his team being as good as they were, I think that 100% went into it.
Oh yeah, 100%. I agree. The team defense, I think it does. We're gonna stick with the Lakers here. Full Metal Quirk. Is JJ Redick bad, or is LeBron old?
LeBron James.
I think it's a combination of two. I think it's an incomplete, and then on the other hand, James is old. Because again, a lot of the stuff that JJ does, Darvin Ham was doing that. A lot of the stuff that he does, like take D'Angelo Russell out the lineup. Darvin Ham took D'Angelo Russell out the lineup. Mixed up the lineup. Darvin Ham did that. So a lot of the stuff that he's doing, that was going on with that was going on with Darvin Ham. However, James being older and James being an integral part, I think this is the key right here, though, Tone. I think James being an integral part of what you guys are doing, because a guy at 38, 39 years old, he comes into the season. He's not a piece. He's not Jabbar in Los Angeles. We all know that Magic and James Worthy were the guys moving forward. That's not the case in Los Angeles with James. James is the primary ball handler. He's one of the better scorers. He's the guy that everybody else is going to defer to him. Everybody else is going to defer to him, when in reality, at this stage of his career, you shouldn't have to do that. So, and as old as James is, I think he's definitely past that stage of his career.
So whose fault is that? Who puts the game plan in place? It's JJ. Mm-hmm. So JJ has the same record that they had last year with Ham, with hands in his pockets, Ham, right? They all knocked Ham. You already mentioned he's doing a lot of the same things that Ham is doing. He's already frustrated. He's already gotten up and stormed out of press conferences because he's a little, I won't say the word.
A bitch. You can say it, Tone. I'll say it.
That's not saying the word.
Shut your damn mouth.
All right. Sorry, Rock.
You said it to me, Tone. I want you to stay there too. Just so you know, guys. When Tone and I first did this, Tone and I used to go back and forth on TikTok where it was just stitching. And we actually got in front of each other. And Tone said to me, it's a lot more difficult in person, isn't it? It's kind of the same thing with JJ. This thing look a lot easier on the sideline as opposed to when you're doing it.
It's real easy to second guess a coach after it's done and it was wrong, and you go, you should have done this, or that's what I would have done too, and it was right 100%. And it's harder because he's gonna get dumb questions. He's gonna get called out for dumb decisions because he's gonna make them. He's never coached at any level in his life. He's going to make mistakes. I'm not knocking him for mistakes. Every coach makes a mistake. Heck, every fantasy owner makes a mistake. Do you know that I kept Jordan Mason because I knew
what are you doing, Tone?
I knew McCaffrey was hurt again, and they both got knocked out for the season. So now I'm going into my waiver wire trying to pick up Isaac because I'm. But anyways, that's a story for another day.
Are you scrambling now, Tone? Is that what you're doing?
No, my team's solid. He's a guy off the bench just if needed, if someone else get hurt. I'm still crushed by my Stephon Diggs and Chris Godwin getting hurt. anyways, not fantasy. Sorry. Let me stay focused.
Hey, you know what? I've got this water.
Yes, Kanye. So
Right.
so what is JJ doing? If you're the new coach and you have a 40-year-old player, and let's be clear, you have a bona fide star in Anthony Davis. You need to figure out a way to, I'm sorry, LeBron. You need to find a way to get the ball out of his hands, and you need to put that team first. Because you're right. Kareem was a third option. They knew James and Magic was that's who it was. So who is it? It's Anthony Davis and, well, nobody, but okay. We got to figure it out. James has to play a lesser role or this team will suffer, because when he struggles, I believe he's 0 of 24. One more 3-point miss and he will break the record for most missed 3-pointers in a row.
Garbage.
And he's actually a good 3-point shooter. Like last year, I think he 40%. Like he turned himself
his career. Highest in his career.
But now people are gonna say it's because he's washed and because he's old, and we're gonna talk about that in a second. But it's also, you brought in a new coach to do something different. You didn't bring in a new coach to do the same thing.
Now, my question to you, Tone, is: are we at a point in his career where JJ Redick could go to Anthony Davis, who, by the way, I mean, the first, like, I want to say 10 or 15 games, he was leading the league in scoring.
That's when they should have traded him, just like last time. When he goes on his 10-game hot streak where he looks like the MVP, that's when they need to trade him.
So he was leading the league in scoring. Now, here's the problem, though, Tone. The problem is when Pat Riley went to Magic in 1987 and said, we're going to run the offense through you and not Kareem anymore. Pat Riley has that cachet to do that. He's won championships. He's been around. JJ Redick, on the other hand, at however old he is, and to your point, no coaching experience. Forget championship experience. No coaching experience. He comes out of the booth. Onto the sideline. Is he really going to go to Anthony Davis and go, listen, we're going to run the offense through you. I'm going to take the ball out of James's hands.
Yes.
And how is that going to go over? Because I can tell you right now, Tone, I can tell you how it's not going to go over. It's not going to go over like, yo, this is great. Okay, let's try something different. No, we're going to have a bunch of guys looking at JJ Redick like, what the hell is this guy talking about? Even though him and James are on the same podcast, James is definitely going to have one eyebrow up like, wait a minute. I've always had the ball in my hands. I've always been the guy with the ball.
And that's been the problem. Your whole career, that's been the problem.
It has been. 100%.
And if I'm going to lose my job after a season like JJ Redick is, let's be clear, if I'm going to lose
out after this year, Tone, you think he's gone?
100%. If I'm going to lose my job after a year, I'm going to have to say, this is how I'm going to go out. I'm going to go out my way. I'm not going to go if I do what the last guy did, I'm going to get the same. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. So if I'm going to do the exact same thing that the last guy did, I'm going to get the exact same results. So you know what? I am going to say, this is what we're doing. And of course, I'm going to have the conversation with James, of course, and say, look, this is what we need to do. You want to win first, right? Right?
Correct. I do.
He's going to say no. Of course, he's say right. Okay. What's he going to do? Demand a trade? We just drafted your son. Get out of here. You're not going anywhere. You're staying right here. And I think they just signed him to a deal. No, isn't it 2 years or was it a 1 year?
4 years.
4 year. 4-year deal. You're not going anywhere.
$8 million.
You're not going anywhere. Because if you do try to pull some stunt, you're going to look bad. Not me. Your reputation is already in the dumps. And let's be clear. We'll talk about the social media experiment I did. He is the most hated player in the history of the NBA, by the way. But that's a conversation for another time when I get all the stats put together for you. That being said, he's not going anywhere. We drafted your son. This is what we need to do to win. You want to win, right?
Correct. I do.
Then this is what we got to do. And you know what? Okay, if it doesn't work, well, then that's on me. But I know what's not working. And that's this.
This is not working.
It's not working.
Sure.
Not working. So but I don't think and let me be clear, I don't think he's washed. I think he just has a lot of basketball miles, and I'm not being funny. I'm not, because everyone's gonna say, oh, there's fluent. Hey, I'm not being facetious at all when I say this. Sure. I think he needs to take a break Forget the 82 games. Take a break. He seems to like Miami. Go to Miami. Enjoy some sun. Have a vegan meal with my boy Chill. Take a week off and come back fresh. Like
he did that, and he did that in Cleveland.
I know he did.
Yeah.
And listen, we understand. You and I were older. We know how the human body gets,
Yes,
right?
sir.
You hit certain milestones in your life, and you need to. And I think that's where where he is. Like, I hope he's not an all-star this year. And the reason I hope he's not an all-star,
unfortunately, he's going to start. He's going to
I
start.
know, but I hope he's not, and not because I want him to be. I want him to take that time off.
Yeah.
Go grab Savannah, grab Bryce, grab Bronny. There's a beautiful place I know. There's a beautiful place I know up in Simi Valley, right near where near Sierra Canyon is, and go chillax for a couple of days, relax, unwind, and he'll feel so much better coming back.
I don't know if I hate that. I don't. To be honest with you, Tone, I don't know if I hate that. I just have, and I had this conversation earlier.
This is the Laker fan in me, okay? Forgetting about everything else that I ever say, because this is Lakers. This is what Lakers over everything. Mm-hmm. That's what's best for the team, is him to be there, him not to control the ball, and him to take a break, because there's going to be times, end of half, end of games, where we're going to be like, hey, yo, we need you to be that guy. It just can't be all the time. It can't be all the time, all game. It can't.
Not now. Not at this point in his career. No, he's not that. He's not that guy anymore. But
I guarantee you can see it, right? Like Jordan at 39 in Washington was not. And can I go? Sorry, quick little rant. When Jordan came back to Washington, he'd been out of basketball for 3 years.
3.5.
Your body, people think, oh, he was rested. No, dummy. Talk to a doctor. Go find a kinesiologist or a student who's doing and they will tell you your body, you lose the muscle memory, you lose the flexibility, it is better to play for 3 years than sit for 3 years. And I 100% of 100%, 10 out of 10 times, if you take two guys that are exactly the same person, and one sits for 3 years and the other plays for 3 years, that fourth year, the one who played is going to be better. So my point is this. But we still saw, what did we still see? We saw glimpses. We saw moments. We saw games, right? That's what we need from LeBron now, is just tone it down, and because you're going to see glimpses. You're going to see moments. You're going to see games. Sure. And it has to be Davis who's carrying the load, because that's their best player right now.
Well, Tone, to your point, if that's the case, why don't guys sit out for seasons? And why don't I come back when I'm 50? Okay. I've sat out I retired and then I didn't play for 5 more years. All of that wear and tear on my body. I should be good, right? No, I'm getting older. That's what happens. I'm 36 and I didn't play for 3.5 years. I come back, I'm 39. You think I'm fresh? No, I'm 3 years older and I haven't been playing pro basketball. I haven't been playing any kind of basketball, to be honest with you.
Did anyone say, hey, Mike Tyson's 58, he's going to be fresh against Jake Paul?
Nobody said that.
He hasn't boxed in 20 years. No, dummy.
No, that's not the way that works. No.
And people think 39, it's 39 is not old, but it's old.
In pro basketball, sense, right? In pro basketball, you're ancient.
Yeah.
100% ancient. Now, what I was trying to make sense of, I needed to understand what washed is. Because when I think of washed, I think of a guy who what he used to be able to do, he can't do that anymore at all. That's what I think about that's what I think about when I think you're over. Like, this dude is finished. Now, when you can still play, but you can't play at that level, but you can still play at an awesome level. Does that mean you washed or you're just declining? Because there are guys.
I disagree with you.
Okay.
Washed is you can't do what you used to do on a consistent basis.
Right.
Finished, what you're saying is you just can't do it anymore. And
that's
there's
what I think washed is.
There's a distinction for that for me, right. Because washed, you can still do it every once in, I'm washed, but I can still go drop 40 every once in a while against the dudes my age or younger. Once in a while.
Here's the thing, though, Tone. If you washed,
maybe I'm over.
You can't do that at all. So when I think about washed, I think, okay, I can still play. And I might be able to give you prime example. Remember John Elway when he retired? John Elway said, if I could play every other week, I'd be great. But the fact that he had to play every week, that's the problem. Because I can't do it like that anymore. I can't. I'm not that good anymore. However, I still can do it. That to me isn't washed. Who was washed? Drew Brees. Drew Brees was over.
What about Peyton Manning in his last season with the Broncos when he couldn't throw?
Peyton Manning was over. He couldn't throw past 40 yards. He was over. That defense carried him.
But if he could still throw it a couple of games, it's just our definitions vary a little bit. I just think wash just means you can't do it consistently, and over means you just can't do it anymore.
And I don't think James is over. I don't think he's washed. Because Tone, you just read me the raw numbers from Anthony Davis that year that he missed out on Defensive Player of the Year. So Tone, take out the name, right? Take out the name for a second, and you got a guy in the league today. He's playing in the Western Conference. He's 22-9-8.
Yeah, he's a borderline all-star.
I think he's an all-star. And I think that we're having a conversation about him being an all-pro. If that's what he's doing. I think, but James has been
22-9-8?
Yes. But here's the thing though, Tone. Guys who have been, it's not, I can't say guys, but people who have been elite for such a long time, because they've been elite for such a long time, that when we finally see them going the other way, we get so used to seeing them this way that once they start to decline, now it's this guy is over. Well, wait a minute. I don't think James is over, but what I don't want to see, Tone, is I don't want to see Jabbar in 89. I don't want to see that from James. I don't want to see Doc in 87. I want to see the guy who James is gradually declining, and eventually he's going to hang him up. But I don't want to see 12 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 or 4 assists. I don't want to see that because that's over. And I don't think James is there. No, he's not there yet.
Is James Harden an all-star this year?
I think so. Yes. Even though he's shooting his lowest field goal percentage of his career, I think this season.
And Cade Cunningham, if Cade Cunningham was in the West, would he be an all-star?
Considering who's in the Western Conference, I mean, there's some ballers in the West, Home. There are. There's some ballers in the West when I think about the guard position, right? When I think about the guard position, Shea, Luka, Ja, Curry.
So would you say they're borderline all-stars then?
I think that James Harden is a borderline all-star.
Well,
not James Harden. I think Cade Cunningham. If he was in the Western Conference, I think he'd be a borderline all-star. Anthony Edwards, De'Aaron Fox, guys like that.
Cade Cunningham and James Harden are both about 22, 9-8, 7-8 guys.
Right. And
so they're borderline all-stars.
Correct. Now if they and again we're taking the name off. Take LeBron James out of it. Right. We're taking the name off. What we're talking about here is we're talking about a guy that's 22-9-8 on a playoff team. And the Lakers, for all intents and purposes,
they're a playoff team. Yeah.
Yep.
They're the 8 seed. They're the 8 seed.
Yep. They're a playoff team. So when I look at what's going on with James, 28, 22, almost averaging a triple-double, it'd be hard to it would be hard in my estimation to keep him off the All-Star team. It'd be pretty hard.
Yeah, and that's why I say I think he's definitely on the decline. He's on his decline.
Yes.
Finally.
That's been going on
30 years later. But he's that. But that's the thing. To your point, he's not take the name off and put in 22, 9-8. He's LeBron James, who everyone expects to get 27, 7-7.
Yes. And that's not going on.
7-7. And that's 5 points is a lot, although his rebounds and assists are up. 5 points is a lot.
But how far off are we from that, Tone? Like he's 22-8-9, but how far are we off from 27-7-7? As opposed to if he was 14-6-5, I'm like, yo, what are we doing?
Yeah, Then I would say he was washed. He's
Right.
Listen, he's 35% from 3 over the last 25 he's taken, where he's shot in 0% away from 27 7.
Yeah.
We got another super chat. Full Metal Quirk. Why don't teams hunt for mismatched scenarios, especially with all the switches?
Teams do that all the time. Boston is notorious for that. And not only are they notorious for that, they screen specifically for that. The Golden State Warriors, they do the same thing. They screen specifically for mismatch hunting. The Cleveland Cavaliers do the same thing. They mismatch hunt a lot. There's plenty of teams who mismatch hunt, and they do a great job at getting the mismatches that they want. Milwaukee does it. I think Milwaukee does a great job in mismatch hunting. Yeah. There's plenty of teams.
What I would say is yes and no. And I'll explain. Yes, I think to your point, teams do it, but I think it's also the regular season.
Mm-hmm.
So I think teams do it just as needed, right? If you really want to see it done, watch the playoffs, because in the playoffs you're playing the same team 4 to 7 times, and you're gonna kind of pinpoint these are those mismatches that we're going to look for, and we're going to do things to try to create that mismatch because we want to go after it. For the average, Wednesday night, 7:30 game, they'll do it, but to a lesser extent, because you're playing 82 games. You are not going to game plan the same way for every single game that you're going to do for a playoff series. So I think that's where the difference is for me, is they do it, but for Full Metal, you have to watch to see them do it. Whereas in the playoffs, you'll see it night in, night out, because, well, duh, right? That's why a guy like Rudy Gobert in the regular season, right? Defensive player of the year. And what's the knock against him in the playoffs? Oh, he gets exposed. Well, yeah, because they're specifically running plays and running schemes to put him into positions where he's at his least effective. That's what a team should do against a guy. And sometimes it still doesn't work, but that's what you try to do in a playoff series. But to game plan like that for a team, like, let's say a team in the East, I don't want to use the Celtics. What's kind of a middle of the road? Atlanta only plays Minnesota twice.
Mm-hmm.
One at home and home. They are not going to go to the same depth to create those mismatches to win 1 game or 2 games.
As opposed to dealing with Milwaukee.
Exactly. They got bigger fish to fry. Now they'll say, hey, here's some mismatches that we know if we can get into that scenario and let's run that. However, it's not to the same extent.
Sure.
Thank you, Full Metal. I appreciate the question.
Got another super chat.
Yeah. Again, Full Metal. Let's see. Is Levine an all-star? How does he help? What other agents help? Is Trey an all-star? Healthy dose of chill today.
I'm having a hard time with Trey not being an all-star, but I had a hard time with him not being an all-star last year when he was 27 and 11.
20 plus points, 13 assists or something like that. What, doesn't he have like 12, 13 assists?
He's averaging the most assists this season. He's averaging the same amount of assists this season as John Stockton did in 1993.
I think if you're leading the league in points or assists, like, you should almost automatically be an all. Like,
I never understood that for the life of me, Tone. Like, why are we discounting a guy being the best rebounder in the game? Like, why are you not an all-star? Why?
Yeah,
I never understood that.
I would say those 3 stats offensively, right? Or I guess rebounds as offensive and defensive, but I think points, assists, and maybe rebounds. Those 3 leaders should be all-stars. Like,
I never understood that for the life of me. And is Zach LaVine an all-star? Well, if you think about the Eastern Conference, if you think about the Eastern Conference, so the guards, so Donovan Mitchell, I think you're gonna have a conversation about Darius Garland maybe being an all-star this year. I don't think anybody in Orlando is making an all-star team. I think Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, but those guys are forwards. I think Jalen Brunson is gonna make the all-star team. I think Damian Lillard's going to be an all-star. I think Trey's going to be. Way. You hate
that Brown and Tatum are both forwards.
I hate it too, Tone. 100%, because I think Brown's a 2.
Brown's a 2, Tatum's a 3.
That's what I think. 100%. Yes. I think
then again, I thought we're positionless.
I thought we were too.
Why don't we just get rid of it all? Who cares?
That's where I thought we were. So it's guards. The guards that I think are playing. I'm gonna go Donovan Mitchell. I don't think any guards on Orlando are making the crew. I think Brunson's gonna be an all-star. I think Dame's gonna be an all-star. I think Trey's gonna be an all-star. I don't think any I think Tyler Hero is gonna be in a conversation to be an all-star. I don't think Halliburton's gonna be an all-star. I think LaMelo is gonna be an all-star. I think he's starting in the all-star game, to be honest with you. Because people love him.
I don't get it.
I think Zach LaVine's going to be in the conversation to be an all-star this season. Yes, I do think that. And TJK, let's be clear about one thing. No, I do not ride LeBron all day. You just a hater. That's all you are. You don't want to see anything good for this guy. All you do is talk bad about him. And what you'll do is you'll hide behind your nonsense of, we can't critique him. Yes, you can. But if that's all you're doing, then that's nonsense, because I can be critical of James, but also be positive with it too. You're not. All you have to do is say bad things about him. That's why I don't listen to stuff from people like you. That's why that goes in one ear and out the other with me. I'm good on you. I'm straight.
I'm with you, TJK. Can't say nothing good about LeBron. You know why we can't say nothing good about LeBron? Is because people lie, like this one that says that last year. Remember last year they lied and said he had the best defensive field goal percentage.
I saw that and I was like, "What the hell game are you guys watching?"
He wasn't even in the top 40.
Yes, that is not going on.
No. However, Victor Wembanyama does have the best defensive field goal percentage at the rim in 2024, 41.1%. What are your thoughts on Mr. DPOY? Because you know he's winning it this year.
See, that's what I'm talking about, Tone. I think that when it comes to is Victor Wembanyama the defensive player of the year, or do we want him to be that?
Yes,
because those I think it's more the latter than it is the former. That's what I think it is. I don't think that Victor Wembanyama is the best defensive player in the game. I think that he's a damn good defensive player, but I think he has a lot of flaws in his game defensively. He still doesn't guard very well in the post. He does not. I think he's great at the rim. I will not argue that. I think he's a damn good shot blocker, but he still doesn't guard very good in the post. I think he could be a better rebounder than what he is, right? Than what he is. But I think he could be better. But he has to be the defensive player of the year now. He doesn't have to be the defensive player of the year in year 5. He's got to be the defensive player of the year today. Why? Because you have to be right about who this guy is. So you're going to make yourselves right about him. You're going to turn him into the defensive player of the year. You're going to turn him into the league MVP. And when he doesn't win, if he doesn't win the NBA championship by year 5 or year 6, you're going to tear him down. You're gonna roast him, and you're gonna say he's not who we thought he was, even though you're the people who built this guy up to be that. Instead of letting him become that, you rushed him into turning into that. And that's where I have the biggest problem. The biggest problem that I have with that is rushing him and turning him into that. Do I think Victor Wembanyama is going to be – I said that the league is going to be a bunch of Wembanyamas. Not only that, I feel like he's going to be the best defensive player in the game. I just don't think he's there yet. I don't think he's there yet. I think guys like Evan Mobley, I think guys like Anthony Davis, I think guys like Bam, I think guys like that are fantastic, and they get overlooked because of a guy that we have a narrative that we created about.
So if you had to say who's going to be, who should be the top 3 vote getters for Defensive Player of the Year, who are those 3?
The top 3 vote getters today, I think Anthony Davis is out of the conversation. I don't think he's in the conversation. I think he's out of the conversation. I think Evan Mobley, I think Vic is in the conversation. And that kid in Atlanta, Dyson Daniels, man, he's been fantastic. He has been. He reminds me a lot of Alvin Robinson when I watch him. Yeah, he reminds me a lot of Alvin Robinson when I watch him. I love everything about his on-ball defense, his off-ball defense, him in the passing lanes, his hands stay busy. I love him. I love everything about his game defensively. So those are the 3 guys that I'm thinking about off the top of my head.
Oh, I'm okay with any one of those. Okay. There was a guy who won a Defensive Player of the Year. He's up in Milwaukee.
Giannis.
He's averaging more assists per game than SGA, more rebounds per game than Anthony Davis, and more points per game than anybody in the NBA.
Imagine that.
But we're not talking about Giannis at all.
Because we wrapped up in Joker. That's why. Because we're wrapped up in Joker, Jason Tatum this, and on top of that, Tone, the 32 a game that he's averaging this season. If I'm not mistaken, wasn't he averaging like 31 a game last year? So that's kind of what the bar is with him. So instead of him, instead of us, I mean, I think last year Giannis, if I'm not mistaken, what he did, I think he shot the highest field goal percentage around the rim since Chamberlain or something. I think he shot like 80% at the rim, something close to 80% at the rim. I think that rivals Chamberlain in the 60s. But he ain't sniffed the league MVP. Right? He didn't sniff the league MVP. Hello, dear. How are you? What's up? What up with you? Go to bed.
Hi, Unc. Bye, Unc. It's like a drive-by.
That's good. Hi, Unc. Bye, Unc. What's going on? Yeah, Tone. He had the numbers. Milwaukee wasn't very good. Because Milwaukee wasn't very good, he got overlooked. But and it's in Milwaukee too, because I've said this to you time and time again, Tony. If Giannis was from Chicago, he'd be the face of the NBA today. If he was from New Orleans, if he was from Brooklyn, if Giannis was from Los Angeles, he would be the face of the NBA. 100% he would be. And I feel like he gets overlooked because of who he is. I mean, I feel like where he is, he gets overlooked because of that. And I mean, I think we're missing out. I do. I think we're missing out. No doubt.
I listen. I believe to your point that because the team wasn't good, that's why. And now, even though they've jumped into fifth, we already talked about it last week, right? We said they're going to have all these easy games. They're going to get back up. They're going to bump up in the standings because the East is pretty packed in. Yep. And we're going to all of a sudden forget that they struggled. And once they start playing tough teams again, we'll see. But I think the record has a lot to do with it.
Yep.
That being said, that reminded me of this. Last week, today is the 3rd. So last week would have been the 26th.
Yeah, because Thanksgiving was on the 28th.
Yeah, so it would have been the 26th. So on that day, yesterday was Juice WRLD's birthday. No, I did not know that. Happy birthday to Juice WRLD. All right. Good night. Say good night to Unc.
Later.
Unc.
All right, brother. Love you. Go to bed.
It would have been Juice WRLD's birthday yesterday. Just FYI. Important things. On the 26th, last Tuesday, we made predictions about the Warriors' next 9 games. You said they would go 4-5.
Yeah.
They are currently 0-2.
Oh boy.
I said they'd go 6-3.
Yes, you did.
So they're going to have to go 6-1 in their next 7 games. And they got the Warriors. They got the Nuggets in a in-season tournament game.
That's tonight?
Tonight. That might be their 3rd loss, and they're going to have to go on a 6-game winning streak to make my prediction come true.
Good luck with that, Tone.
I don't feel very good about. I'm not doubling down on the Warriors. I'm going to say that right now. I'm calling it. I was wrong. You were right. Congratulations. We got a couple of super chats, so let me get out of that horrible. Jay, by the way, is feeling a little bit under the weather. In case you're wondering why he keeps popping in and out of screen, he's doing the right thing by not letting you watch him sneeze. So let's do a couple super chats, and then we'll move on. We have actually the biggest and most important topic coming, which is NBA realignment, but we'll get there in a moment. Actually, Kenny's came first. Sorry for Metal. Kenny Smith, Kenny the Jet. I love when Kenny the Jet Smith, I don't know if you're the same one, but I'm going to say you are. I love when Kenny the Jet Smith says, Kenny the Jet by game, not by name Smith. Do you know that he says that?
Kenny by game, not by name.
Do you know why he says that?
No, I don't.
Do you not really? Oh, I love when I teach you something new because then I get to say my line. So Kenny the Jet Smith has the nickname the Jet because he was very fast.
Sure.
Right. So they called him Kenny the Jet Smith because of his game. He was a very quick guard.
Mm-hmm.
There's another player, and his name, you might remember, he played for the Dallas Mavericks in 2011, and he outplayed LeBron James, Jason Terry.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Jason's middle initial is E, so his initials are JET. So Jason Terry's nickname is actually the Jet, and he used to fly, but that's because of his initials are JET,
not because he was fast.
So although I don't know, maybe he was fast, but
not
no.
like Kenny Smith though. No,
but yes, but so Kenny Smith is Kenny the Jet by game. That's a shot at Jason Terry because they call him the Jet
by name.
And this was by game, not by name.
Learn something new every day, brother.
Every time I see Kenny Smith, that's all I think about. But I was gonna say story for another day, but that's the story. All right, Cam Johnson, most improved this season.
I think that we're having a conversation about him. I think he's 10th in the league in scoring. Not 10th in the league. I'm sorry. I think he's right outside the top 15 in the league in scoring. Usually the most improved player, his scoring average goes up 5 points. And I think Cam Thomas is averaging like 25 a game, something like that, 25 or 26 a game. And that's primarily what they look at when you talk about like the most improved player. I thought it was Norman Powell. That's who I thought most improved player was going to. So we'll see.
Well, if it's points per game,
Cam Thomas is getting.
How many points did Melo? How many points did Melo?
He's also in that conversation too because he averaging 30 a game. That went up. I think his is plus 10 because he wasn't averaging 25 last year.
I think if he stays healthy and he stays up there, I think it goes to him just because he's the bigger personality. But listen, Grady Dick, RJ Barrett, there's some other dudes that definitely should be in that conversation. But Cam Johnson, I think, is going to also depend on one very important thing, and that is if he gets traded, where he gets traded to, and what his role is in that offense. That I think might be the thing that stops him potentially from being most improved is if he does get traded, as is rumored, and he goes to a team where now he's not doesn't have the freedom to score. That might hurt him a little bit. That might hurt him.
All right.
Full Metal says, why doesn't Tatum have that mentality?
What mentality is that? The Kobe Bryant mentality or the Jordan mentality? I mean, that's just not who he is. But you'll see it from time to time. You'll see him dominate games. I mean, I've seen him dominate games. I've seen him take over games. I know you want to see it more often. I want to see it more often. But a lot of the stuff that the Celtics do is by design. Tone, I had to turn the game off last night because I'm watching Jaylen Brown get a rebound right in front of the basket and throw the ball out to the long ball line to Drew Peterson. I saw Derek White go to the rim and get a rebound right at the rim, and instead of putting it right back up, no, he's not doing that. What he's doing is he's firing the ball out to Drew Holiday for a long ball. I think this is by design, and it's just not fun to watch. That's not to say that the Celtics aren't fun to watch all the time, because they are. There are times when they are fun to watch. But that brand of basketball, I just can't get with it. I have a difficult time watching it. If that's what the future is, it's going to take some getting used to for me.
I just, I hear what you're saying. I'm of the opposite belief. I love it to a point. I think it's gotten to that point, like we spoke earlier with Justin, who and I'm not going to butcher his last name, but earlier today we talked to Justin, who's the creator of Basketball Reference, and I'm with him. I think it's tipped the scale a little too far. If we just need to pull it back, just pull it back a little bit.
He's the one who created it, so I'm giving him no leeway. He's the one who started all of this.
Yeah. It's his damn fault. You and I got into a little tete-a-tete, they say in France, on TikTok about teams and divisions. And I'm not going to pull up the map, but I have the map ready in a minute. But just to recap, I'm of the belief that, and I have two beliefs, but I'll say the first one, the one that I think irks you more, is that all the teams should just play everybody, and the top 16 teams should make the playoffs.
I'm warming up to that more, Tone. To be honest with you, even though I'm an Eastern Conference guy, and I feel like the conference championship means something, and I'm still on that train, but I'm listening more to conversations today. I am.
And prior to you're softening your stance, but prior to that, you were very big on Atlantic Division and Pacific Northwest, and winning your division and then winning your conference, and it created rivalries, and and that's where we had our little back and forth. So it sounds like you're softening up on that a little bit, but is it because of the rivalries that you like it, or because you think Eastern Conference championships matter?
I always feel like conference championship matters. I always feel like being the Western Conference, because not everybody is the Lakers, not everybody is the Celtics, not everybody is the original. And to my point, and I said this to you earlier, this is how the whole thing started with us. In divisions, that's where the rivalry started. That's where the Knicks and the Miami Heat started. I mean, they were both in the Atlantic Division. And it meant something to win the Atlantic Division when you got the Knicks and the Heat in the division. The Bulls have a bunch of banners up on their wall in their practice facility, because they were in the same division with Cleveland. They were in the same division with the Bad Boy Pistons, right? They were in the same division with Milwaukee. Yes,
not in the stadium.
I think in the stadium. Well, but I think when they moved to the United Center, because that was hanging in the Madhouse on Madison. They did hang those banners up in the Madhouse on Madison.
Because up until last year, the Lakers only hung championship banners.
Yeah, the Celtics too.
We were very proud of that. Very proud.
Yeah, the Celtics too. The Celtics don't hang up. If you go into the TD Garden, there are no division banners up there. They're all just championship banners. But what I'm saying is, the rivalries were created within the division. That's why I felt like the divisions were important. So by the time we get to the playoffs, we look forward to Boston and Philly. We look forward to Miami and the Knicks. We look forward to Sacramento and the Lakers. We look forward to that because we saw them throughout the course of the year in the division and how heated that was. And we get to see it 3-4. We get to see it 3-4 times. And because we get to see it that many times, by the time the playoffs start and there's more at stake, these guys go even harder. So that's why I felt like divisions are such a big deal.
So I hold on. Let me get to the rivalries in 1 second. EPO stands for erythropoietin. E3-protein, I believe. I always pronounce everything wrong, but it's E3-protein. Adds oxygen to the blood. Okay. Yep. I always want to educate.
Now you're more fluent.
That's what I do.
Tom, okay. Why is this steroid, Mr. Fantastic? Why is this a steroid? Why is this a thing? Because Tone, last I checked, if I'm not mistaken, I believe it was in 2000. I want to say 12. I want to say 2012 or 2013. So about over 10 years ago, Balco. The FBI who took down Balco, they investigated LeBron James. They did a deep dive into LeBron James, and they came up with this when they were looking for him using performance-enhancing drugs. So I don't understand why this is still a thing. Am I dealing with? Am I getting sucked into the troll world where like you guys want this to be a thing? Because when I think about the FBI investigating you, Tone, they want nothing more than to take down big fishes. Right? They go after big fish. So when they go after big fish and they step off, that tells me that there's nothing there. Nothing. Now, if you just want to have a conversation about it and talk about it, just to bring it up so people will know, and then this turns into a thing to make you feel better, that's one thing. But if there are no facts, which there aren't any facts of him doing this, none whatsoever, why are we still having this conversation?
We're having the conversation, I think, for three reasons. One, as you know, I tried, I investigated, couldn't find anything solid. However, because there is still smoke, that the people who want there to be something will not let the smoke dissipate. They're going to keep bringing it up, right? You have someone who said we had the same drug guy. You've seen the hair loss, rapid hair loss, and then, you've seen the signs, you've heard the rumors. Mm-hmm. And so, there's still smoke there. Why, to your point, the getting the big fish. My only issue with that is they want the big fish unless there's a bigger fish or unless there's a lot of money involved. And when we're talking now about $1 billion industry that doesn't want him, right, like if you look, the Tour de France is nowhere near, at least in America, as big, but you didn't find out anything about Lance Armstrong until he was done and the money stopped rolling, right? Everybody who was making money off him, once they stopped making money, then the truth came out. So I think people don't want to let it die because that, and some people just want his downfall. And the third one is, again, no proof, no evidence, but there is smoke. They want his downfall. And then the third one is he's doing something that's unexplainable. Because up until 2 weeks ago, all of us were like, how is he still playing like this at 39, almost 40 years old?
Right. Nobody else
how?
doing that.
And because you can't explain it, you're like, well, there must be something. There must be a reason why or how. And let's be honest, we've seen so many people do wrong things that I think it's now just embedded in us that, if someone's rich, they stole it. If someone has longevity, they're cheating. Like it's just we can't just be happy, for people having good things. Like, no, that's the problem with the world. We're not happy with people. Like, no one says, hey, congratulations. They don't. They say, have you, brother? Like, but anyways, we get to that if we have time. We'll even bring you up. I'll send you the link. Let us get through. So the rivalry. So you said your thing, the rivalry started in the divisions. And I disagree with you. I believe the rivalry started with familiarity. Because they played each other so often, that's how the rivalry becomes a thing. I don't want to romanticize the malice at the palace, but the malice at the palace was started the previous year in the playoffs. Ron Artest was getting Ben Wallace back for a hit that he gave him, or foul that he gave him last season. And he said, in the playoffs, I remember what you did. Take this. And that's how, then, of course, the guy in the crowd ended it, right? We all know how that happened. But the familiarity. So if you play the same team over and over and over and over and over again, and it's competitive, if it's a blowout every time, no one cares. But if it's competitive and you lose some, that's why I've softened on the everybody plays everybody and said, listen, if you want to create these rivalries, these divisions, I think we can do it.
But here's the thing, though, Tone. You just said. I mean, you just told me that some familiarity, and then you brought up the Indiana Pacers and the Pistons. So that basically was a pot that was about to boil over from the previous year. But Tone, we're also talking about two teams that was in the same division. Also, that's where the familiarity comes from,
right? Because they played each other. But if Indiana played Portland 16 times a year, and in the playoffs 4 or 5 times, they'd become rivals if they won some. Like, again, it's about
kind of like the Cavs and the Warriors. Like, that became a thing.
That became a thing, even though they played 2 times a year in the regular season. You don't tell me the Bulls and the Jazz, short-lived, but that wasn't a rivalry.
It was turning into something. Sure, absolutely, it was.
So here's the breakdown. Now, the only 2 teams that aren't on here are the 2 that we both agree should be, which is Seattle, and we know Vegas is coming.
Yep.
So the reason why the East-West thing doesn't, so let me go back, because you had said this actually did start when you said, the Seattle's going to come in, Memphis is going to move to the East, Vegas is going to come in, and I think you said New Orleans will move to the East.
No, it's Minnesota.
Oh, Minnesota. I'm sorry, Minnesota.
I had Minnesota moving to the Central Division. I had Minnesota moving. So really quick, real quick recap.
Minnesota to here.
Yeah, I had Minnesota moving to the Central Division with the Bulls and the Detroit Pistons and Indiana. I had Phoenix moving to the Southwest Division, which is where Memphis is, with Dallas, and then I had Memphis moving to the Southeast Division with Miami and Orlando and Atlanta.
Okay.
That's where I had them moving.
Pelicans would stay in the West.
And the Pelicans, yes, New Orleans would still be in the West. Yes, they would.
So here was my problem with that, is if Seattle and Vegas get a team, what that would do, because there would then be 32 teams.
Yeah.
So it would, if they both went into the West where they belong, that would mean that there were 17 teams in the West, 15 teams in the East. When you move 2 over, you now have 15 teams in the West, 17 teams in the East.
Move 1 instead of 2.
And that's the problem. And that's the reason we're in the situation we are now. Why, when Memphis moved to Memphis from Vancouver, they stayed in the West because it wouldn't be fair if there were 17 teams in one, 15 in another, when you consider 8 teams make the play. Well, actually, no, 10 teams make the play-in, I guess, or 6 teams make the playoffs before.
Right.
10, that would be 2/3 of the West would then be in some sort of playoff or / play-in tournament. If it went back to 8 teams, it would mean more than half of the teams, which is, the way it is now, but it's still, the other team would have 17. So there'd be 9 teams that, no, what's my math? Yes, 9 teams that wouldn't make it, whereas the other would only have 7 teams that didn't make it. So they want to keep that balance. So here's what I'm suggesting.
We only got 7 teams out west. West of Kansas, we only got 7 teams.
No, 8.
All the rest of
There's 8. There's 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 plus the
we're talking about the 2 teams. Okay, so that'd be 10. So we got 8 right now. We'd have 10 teams.
You'd have
west
10 teams, west of Nebraska, Kansas, I guess. But here's the thing. Someone said to me, well, if you did your thing of the top 16 teams, Portland to Boston, what if they play each other? Do you know what the flight is from Portland to Boston?
It's about a 6-hour ride, 5.5, 6-hour ride.
5 hours and 25 minutes.
Yeah,
you want to hear something crazy? Because the world is round, for those that don't know. Do you know what? Sorry, Flat Earth Dave. Do you know what the flight is from Portland to Memphis?
About what? 4.5 hours, something like that?
5 hours and 35 minutes.
Because of the time change.
No. Just because of the way that the world goes, like,
yeah.
This is actually
a
longer flight, jet streams, blah blah blah. So they're both about 5 hours and 30 minutes. So what's the difference? You could have this first round matchup any day of the week. So what's the difference if it's here?
Portland, even though geographically it's longer. It's further away, Boston to Portland, and Memphis to Portland. Geographically, it is.
And with private flights and all these other things, it's not like they're flying commercial anymore.
No, they're not. Mm-hmm.
Now, but I took what you said and I said, okay, well, what if we get a little bit of the best of both worlds? We want to create the rivalries. Mm-hmm. So you can, with 32 teams, it actually works out well. You can have 4 divisions or conferences of 8. Or you got
4 divisions of 8. Okay.
Or 8 divisions of 4. Still get what I want, which is each winner of the division is in the playoffs. So that's 8 teams. And the other 8 teams are just in based on record.
So we add 2 because we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got 6 divisions of 3. I'm sorry, we got 6 divisions of 5.
5 right now,
right, in each conference. So what you want to do is
8 divisions of 4. So I
8 divisions.
So I would go like there's 2 versions. So you could go Seattle, Portland, Sacramento, Golden State.
So let's rewind, Tone. So in the Northwest Division, I got Oklahoma City, Denver, Minnesota, Portland, and Utah. Who do you want to take out of that division?
No, I'm creating all new divisions.
Okay, so we don't have a Northwest division. We don't have a Pacific division.
I got the Pacific.
All of this is gone. Okay,
I got the Pacific Northwest, which would be Seattle, Portland, Sacramento, Golden State. Now, you can either do one of 2 things. If you want to keep the Clippers and Lakers in the same division, you could go Clippers, Lakers, Suns, Vegas. Or you can go Lakers, Vegas, Utah, Denver. And then Clippers, Phoenix, and 2 of the something here. What I actually prefer is these 4. So go LA, Phoenix, Vegas.
Yep.
Utah, Denver, OKC, maybe Memphis as your kind of mid-Atlantic, or not mid-Atlantic, Midwestern division. Dallas, Houston, San Antonio, and New Orleans. That's one. Miami, Orlando, Atlanta, Charlotte. Minnesota, Milwaukee, Chicago, Indiana. Again, you can change them up a little bit. Toronto, Detroit, Cleveland, Washington, Philadelphia, Brooklyn, New York thing. So now they're all geographically set up. It's 4-4-4-4-4. Each winner of each one of those divisions. So you're going to create those rivalries. Each one of those divisions will be in the playoffs, and then the next 8 best records, and then you create your brackets from there. The other alternative is you take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 teams here, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 teams there, blah blah blah, and you just have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 teams there, or whatever. Boston goes there, and then this Atlantic division could be like Miami, Orlando, Atlanta, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, sorry,
so with this division, with the Magic, with Miami, you want to put New Orleans in that division too?
If are you talking about the 8 or the 4?
The 4.
The 4, yeah, the 4 would be, sorry, it would be
Seattle.
There we go. Yeah, it would be Seattle. The arrow you see is different than the one I see, so that's why I'm struggling. Okay, yeah, so it'd be Seattle, Portland, Sacramento, Golden State.
Those are the 4 teams in the division.
That's 4. Clippers, Lakers, Suns, Vegas.
Okay, that's 4 in that division.
Yeah.
That's the Southwest division.
Yeah, Utah, Denver, Thunder, and say Memphis, or you could go Dallas. Either one.
I was thinking Dallas. Okay, so that's
Dallas?
what would that be?
The Mountain Conference.
Okay,
I don't know.
That's the Mountain Division. All right.
San Antonio, Houston, New Orleans, Memphis. Could be
that would be the let's see. We already got the Southwest Division, so
yeah.
Are we still in the? I don't think we're in the Western. We're still in the Western Conference. Yes, we are. We're still in the West.
I'm not even doing. Yeah,
we're not doing West anymore. We're just doing 4 divisions.
I'm just doing divisions. Yeah,
we're doing 4 divisions.
Yeah. Then you got Miami, Orlando, Atlanta, Charlotte. That could be your South Atlantic. And then you got. Sorry, up here. Let me switch up to these ones: Minnesota, Milwaukee, Chicago, Indiana.
Is that your Northwest? That could be
your Midwest.
Your Midwest division. Okay.
Midwest division. Toronto, Detroit, Cleveland, Washington.
That's your Central division.
Call that your Central division, and then your Eastern division is Philadelphia, Brooklyn, New York, Boston.
That's your Atlantic division. Sure.
Yeah. And if you want it, like you can split them up north, east, south, west. Like because you have eight divisions, you could actually technically chop it up and have like east, west. Like you can do like in quadrants, right? Like your northwest, your southwest, your midwest, your south midwest, your east.
Can we create rivalries with this though, Tone? That's the question that I'm asking, because with the Lakers, the Clippers, the Suns, and Vegas. Can we create rivalries in this division? Because what I don't want to do, how often with these 4 teams in these divisions, how often are the Lakers now going to play Golden State? How often is Miami going to play the Knicks? How often are the Celtics going to play Cleveland? Like how often is Philly going to play Washington? Because I know that.
Yeah, I think you play your division. Your division, you're going to play. I think it was 6 times, which is 18 games. You're going to play these guys 4 times, which is 16 games. So that takes you to like 32. So there's a lot of opportunity, and the further away you get, the less you play them, right? So the Lakers will play Miami 4 times. Instead of
just home at home.
Yeah.
So it'll be. You know what's on? I don't hate that the East playing the West more.
Yeah.
I would like to see that. That I definitely would like to see.
Yeah. So that's the options. There's quite a few options, because the thing, like I said, the thing is going to be the rivalries. Do the rivalries come from? And that's the question. Do the rivalries come from playing in the playoffs a lot or playing in the regular season a lot? And I think it's a combination of both, but the teams have to be competitive, right? Like you have divisions where, is anyone have a rivalry with Charlotte?
No.
Because they stink.
Yes.
Right. So no offense to Charlotte, but they're not good. So whether you play them 1 time or 100 times, you're probably not Probably not going to do it.
They suck.
Um,
I don't hate it. I'm just I am a traditionalist, as you know, Tone, and I'm not a huge fan of change, but I can adapt to change. And I know that there are some things that got to get that have to get shaken up. Now, this isn't something that has to be, edged in stone. I mean, we can give it a try, right? We could give it a 2 or 3 year run and see what happens. And if it bombs, we'll go back to the East and the West.
And here's the thing:
not good.
As it stands right now, if you actually draw the line here, right here,
it's almost at the Mason-Dixon line.
Yeah, then you would have and here's the problem: even with 2 new teams, if you had 2 new teams, that's your line of 15 in the West, 17 in the East. So you're gonna have to pick a team like New Orleans, Memphis, Milwaukee. One of these teams would have to be in the West. Like they have to be. So you're still gonna have, even if you add the 2 teams, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
We got 32 teams.
11, 12, 13, 14.
Mm-hmm.
There's 14. There's 14. Yeah, but hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, 14. So Minnesota would have to. Oh no, Minnesota's in the West. Yes. So yeah. Yep. So that's where it was. So
it would just be moving one team to the East, Tone.
That's the 15. So it would be, if those 2 new teams come in, there's your 15. Who stays in the West? Is it Memphis? Well, that's how this all started, was getting them to the East where they belong. Is it New Orleans? Well, does New Orleans look that much more East or less East than Memphis?
Here's the problem: we can't move. Well, with those 2 teams, with both Seattle and Seattle and Vegas coming into the league. Okay, so we would have to move one.
Can I fix it? I'll fix it right now. Take the Pelicans, and put them in Kansas City.
Nope. We ain't giving no more cities, no new teams. So we're not doing that. I'm thinking
we're getting rid of New Orleans. We're moving them to Kansas. Then you can draw this line right here, and it's 16-16, and you don't have to worry about where they are on a map. It just so happens that most of the people live there, and that's where most of the teams are.
That's what the problem is, Tone. The problem, and that's what I'm thinking about when I think about this whole 16-team format, which I am warming up to it. I'm just thinking about I'm thinking about this area right here, from where Chicago is and straight down. This is where the majority of the people live in America. East. The majority of the people live on the east, in the eastern part of America. So I feel like when you have a 16-team tournament, and of these 16 teams, 12 of them are from the Western Conference, I feel like you're alienating this whole region right here. I feel like you're alienating it now, but it's a double-edged sword too, Tone, because I do want to see the best teams, right? Just like your Lakers in 2002 playing against Sacramento in the West Finals. That should have been the NBA Finals, because those, I think, were the 2 best teams in the NBA. But with that being said, I don't want to alienate that market in New York where the Nets, even though they got mopped in the finals by the Lakers, I don't want to 86 them. That's what I don't want to do that.
But when you have 2 teams, like, I know that there's years where like the West had like 2 60-win teams, and the East had like 2 50-win teams. I want to see those 2 60-win teams have an opportunity at least to play each other in the finals.
Right.
There is another option. Do we care about East-West Coast travel?
Not anymore. We don't.
Well, in that case, you could also the cleaner break is right here, right along right here, because there's 1, 2. Oops, sorry. Let me put the cursor where you can see it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 Vegas, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 teams in the South, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 16 teams in the North.
So you could, Tone wants to. So he wants
right
to. Wow.
You could have 19. Sorry, North. You could have North and Southern. The North versus the South, kind of like the Civil War.
That's what
you could do the North versus the South. The North Conference, Southern Conference. really change it up.
Mhm.
Now, a team like Portland, right, is going to have a really crappy time because they're going to be playing. Now, Seattle will be fine.
Mhm.
Utah, Denver, right? But they're going to be playing Minnesota, Milwaukee. Now, again, you could split that up. This is where where you do it, right? You split it. You can do north, south, and then there could be an east, west, and then you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's your 8 east western team. So Indiana to Portland. So you get there's lots of things you can do if you get creative that I think make more sense than where we are today.
Hmm.
With that
I'm
being
warming
said,
up. I'm warming up to it, Tone.
we're
down-
gonna get these all. We're gonna get these all. I was about to say to David Stern. We're gonna get these all.
Nope, he's going, Tone. Nope, no more David Stern. Nope.
Rest in peace, David Stern. Get these all to Adam Silver. We have 2 super chats, and then I'm gonna send a link out to the chat. But
Yeah.
just because we never talked about this either, how do you feel? Because even though I agree, I actually really don't think he should have said this. How do you feel about Adam Silver saying Michael Jordan's his GOAT, but don't tell LeBron?
That's like telling one of your kids that they're your favorite, but don't tell your brother.
I think that's really inappropriate.
Don't tell your brother that.
Am I wrong?
Don't tell your brother I said that. You are my favorite, but don't ever say that to your sister. Oh my goodness.
Like, I always tell my daughter, she's my favorite daughter, and I tell Junior, you're my favorite son. And
Which
they
works.
Like, I'm your only son. I'm like, that's why you're my favorite.
That's why it works. That's exactly why it works.
I'm glad you don't have another brother. I might have to make a tough choice.
Man, David Stern said that Jordan was the GOAT. He said that he said Jordan was the best, and I get it, but
of course he did. He made billions of dollars off of his back.
100%.
And let's be clear, David Stern was not shy about going to Magic as a rookie and saying, "You're going to be our Finals MVP because you're the new face of the league, not Cap, not Kareem, because of his personality." That happened. So David Stern was not shy about doing that. I thought we were in a different era now. So no.
No, this is a conglomerate, man. This is about business, and we're trying to drive up the numbers as much as possible. So yeah, Tone, if you find out that I said that, LeBron is or Jordan is the GOAT, but don't tell LeBron I said that. Okay, that's more people talking about the NBA. That's more people now watching the NBA. If you find out that I said that, that's putting more eyes on it. I think that's a well drawn out plan. I'm not sure how he really feels about it, but I definitely think it's business. 100% I do.
I just thought of something different, actually, and I hadn't thought about it until just this second. LeBron, through the Los Angeles Lakers, though, right? Like, he works for the Lakers, but technically he works for the NBA. He's an employee of the NBA through the Los Angeles Lakers.
Sure.
Right? Like, the Los Angeles Lakers are an NBA franchise, and one of their franchises has an employee. His name is LeBron James. So indirectly, he is an employee of the NBA. Do you know who is the boss of the NBA commissioner?
Who is running things? Who does Adam Silver answer to? No.
The owners.
Very much like Roger Goodell.
And so, although Jordan is now, I think, a minority owner for a very long time, he was one of Jordan's bosses. So he was one of Silver's bosses. Mm-hmm. So if someone says to you, who's better, your boss or your employee?
Of course, I'm going to go with the boss. Absolutely. Of course, I'm going to go with the boss.
My boss. So
yeah, of course,
I just thought of that right now. So maybe I maybe just answered my question. All right.
Yeah.
Let's get to Full Metal Quirk. Oh my God, Chill killing today. I think people get confused with me being fluent and you being chill because they keep saying wonderful things about me. But anyway, Chill, take one player from the East and add to wheat. I think that means heat. Vice versa, one player.
Take one player from the East and add to the West.
Add to the West.
And take one player from the East. One player from the East.
I don't know if that had to do with the
what if I took Giannis? What if I took Giannis and put him in the Western Conference, and I took Luka and put him in the East? or if I took Joker and I put him in the East, and I took Joel Embiid healthy, and I took him and I put him in the West.
But is Joel Embiid ever healthy?
He's always been broken, but he's been, but even when he plays, I can't say that as of late, but over the last couple of years when he played, he's one of the better players in the game. So,
you know what goes through my mind every time someone starts to bring up Joel Embiid?
We do not care.
We don't.
I'm sorry. I don't. There's nothing. Oh, just $1. Hello.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
sir. Appreciate you.
You know, Chill doesn't give me any of this money, by the way. It all goes to him. Like, it's just
that
greedy.
Is not true.
He's so greedy.
We that is not true. Tone is so wild right now. Oh my goodness.
Suspicious.
It's so weird. Wow. So
All right, let's throw this. There's a couple other topics, and we'll keep going. But let me throw the link in and see if anybody wants to join. Are you watching any of the games right now?
I was. Well, I turned off the Knicks Orlando because I wanted to focus on what we were doing. So I made a conscious effort to.
Because normally you always have an eye on the game.
That's what I'm saying, and I want to focus more on what's going on right now. It's like Fluent Jr. or Shorty Fluent. She's got a dance recital, and okay, I gotta put my phone down because I gotta pay attention.
Well, yeah, when she has her dance recital, us dads are loud. We cheer like it's like we're watching a football game. Like we go nuts. We actually had one of the MCs call us out. Like she came up and she's like, I go to a lot of these. She's an adjudicator, which is like a judge for the dance recital. She goes, I adjudicate a lot of these dances, and I've grown up in dance, and I've done a lot of these competitions. Yeah. And I don't know that I have heard a louder, rowdier bunch of dads cheering on their girls dancing than I have tonight. And I just want to call it out and he called out to school and was like, I'm so impressed by you guys. It's like I was at like a football game. She was so excited. I'm like, oh, it's gonna get worse as my daughter gets older, because she was only like 6 last year. She's in 8 this year. Like,
I'm that dad. That's me.
I'm absolutely that dad. We got chance.
Yes,
we got
sir.
everything. ST. Hey, anyways, my Raptors are about to beat the Indiana Pacers. They're my secondary team. They're my home team. I guess. They're starting to put things together a little bit. I know 6-15 sounds bad.
Not in the East, it doesn't.
But in the East,
not in the East, it doesn't.
In the East, I just want to double check because I think they're only 2.5 games out of the play-in.
See, see what I'm talking
Anything
about?
is possible.
For real. For real.
Joe is what I'm going to call you. Is a regular. So Joe, if you're ready,
what up?
What you got?
What up?
Why isn't Giannis like? Oh, first off, how's it going, guys? Hope y'all are doing well.
How's it going?
Why isn't Giannis like higher in MVP votings, man? Like they're disrespecting Giannis.
Because what Giannis does is kind of become customary now, and they don't expect him to do anything more than what he's already doing. Like, all right, this is what it is now. So unless he can play higher than that, unlike Joker, who's doing all the stuff the Joker is doing analytically, I mean, it just looks different.
Call it the
thing is he's a nice though.
Yeah. You got it. I call it, and I'm coining this phrase right now. It's the Russell Westbrook effect. So Russell Westbrook averaged a triple-double, and it hadn't been done in 38 years. Is that correct?
No, he did it in 2007, 97, 87, 77, 67. So 50 years.
50 years. Hadn't been done in 50 years. Gave him the MVP, right?
Yep.
Because they thought that was the best he's going to get. What did he do the next year? He did it again. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And so they can't just give him another MVP. So that's the downside of almost winning an MVP is you can't do exactly what you did again.
Mm-hmm.
You have to better it. And I think that's where Giannis is stuck. He won 2. He got, kind of put into this position where, okay, that's the bar. And to win it again, now you have to exceed that bar or be so much better than everybody else that's the only way you're going to win. And that's really hard to do because he didn't just win it based on the offensive numbers he was putting up. He did it because he was also, defensive player of the year type of player.
That's the bar now.
And
that's
so
the bar now.
It's higher.
Do you guys
which is why Jokic is so incredible, because Jokic set that bar and now he's resetting that bar. If Jokic finishes the season, like we've said, averaging a triple-double, top 5 in scoring, number 1, 2 rebounder, etc., assist guy, he may never win one again because he may never put up those kind of numbers again.
Really?
Yeah,
I don't think he even wins it. I don't think he wins it because he's a 9th seed now.
Well, yeah, of course.
Just off the strength of that, I don't think they're going to give an MVP to a 9th seed. Because what's the precedent? Well, I mean, what's if they give Jokic an MVP as a 9th seed? I want him to change the award from MVP to MOP because we're not rewarding. Because winning clearly doesn't matter at this point.
Well, the last guy to win the league MVP and not make the playoffs was Jabbar. That was in 75, 76. That was the last guy to do it.
And
that was 50 years. That's almost 50 years ago. That's almost like half a century.
He's the 9th seed, but he's 2 games out of the 4th seed.
Right.
So a lot can change. There's a lot of basketball left. So, but you're right. If he's the 9th seed, I doubt that he gets it. However, crazier things have happened.
What's a reasonable standing for him to win an MVP?
Top 5.
I think he can't be. I think you can't be under, in today's day and age, you can't be under the 6th seed. You have to be a full legit playoff team, not a play.
Well, he already won it as the 6th seed, Tone, and that's
why it has to be.
He's got to be a top 5 seed, maybe even a top 3 seed in order for him to win. Even though last year, they were tied for first, and he won it. So I think that's where the bar is. Like if he's 4th, even though he's doing what he's doing with Giannis leading the league in scoring, he's in the top 5 in the league or the top 10 in the league in rebounding. Yes, I 100% think that he'd get bypassed. Yes,
I think it's ridiculous. They have AD over Giannis in MVP votings, man. I think that's crazy. And they got JT too.
Are you a Bucks fan, a Giannis fan, or just?
I'm a C's fan. I'm just I'm advocating for Giannis right now because I think it's disrespect.
We got to remember where we are, though. We got to remember where Milwaukee started, right, and where they are right now. I think they're in the top 5 in the East. But where they started, they were I think they were in 13th place. They were at the bottom of the East at one point, and this was like 3 weeks ago. They were at the bottom of the East. Anthony Davis was leading the league in scoring. The Lakers just last week were a 3rd seed. Just last week, the Lakers were a 3rd seed. They go from a 3rd seed to an 8th seed. That's how competitive the Western Conference is. You can go in a week where you have a bad outing. You can end up finding yourself go from hosting a playoff series to fighting for your playoff life. That could happen.
But wait, wouldn't we just say that the reason they're a top 5 seed now is because of Giannis?
100%.
Exactly why he should be higher in MVP voting.
I don't think it's 100%. I'll take that back. I don't think it's 100% because Damian Lillard's been playing really good. Damian Lillard has been playing really good. It's not like Giannis just threw his screw on his back. It's not like Giannis threw the screw on his back and it's just been Giannis. No, Dame has been playing really well.
They also had a pretty easy schedule of late. Let's be honest.
Yeah, well, Cleveland's been having a pretty easy schedule as of late too. So everyone's saying they're the best team in the league.
Yeah, but
I can't believe
they started off.
Nobody's saying that Cleveland's the best team in the league. They had the best record in the league. Yeah. Nobody's.
You don't think they're really chill? You don't think there's people out there advocating for Cleveland being the best team in the league? They just beat the Celtics right now. They just beat the C's.
With Donovan Mitchell having to go for 4, which Donovan Mitchell had to go for 20 in the 4th quarter in order for that to happen. How often is that going to go on?
C's were smoking them the first half. Half, beginning of the 3rd quarter, they were smoking them, and then just out of nowhere, JT runs out of gas and then smokes a layup on Darius Garland, which should have been a dunk.
Yeah.
You saw that layup, Chill. That should have been a dunk. That's a dunk attempt.
That's because he goes to the rim to get fouled. He doesn't go to the rim to score. That's what he's doing.
That's ridiculous. I'm seeing this. He drove in. He didn't even jump. He just put the layup up and expected to get fouled on it and then complained to the refs.
He's not going to the rim to score. He's going to the rim to get fouled. That's why he's going to the rim. So
that's ridiculous.
That's the Celtics.
I got one more for y'all. Can I get your predictions on who's going to be the DPOY this year, Fluent? Because I already know who Chill thinks. Chill thinks it's Evan Mobley. But can I get your predictions as who the DPOY this year is? Who's the best defense player right now?
Well, hold on. You asked two different questions.
Those two things are not the same.
Yeah, they're not the same. Who's the best defensive player? Yeah, and who's going to win it?
Marcus Smart was not the best defensive player in 2022. He wasn't.
Absolutely, he was. That's the best. That was the best defensive guard in the game. Chill.
He was not better. He was not a better defensive player than Drew Holiday. No, he wasn't.
That is your fandom. I think. Let me start with who I think they're going to vote for. I think because narrative matters in these awards. And I know it shouldn't, but it does. So I think Wemby's going to win it. But I think a guy like I'm just on this Dyson Daniels trip, but I think Evan Mobley probably gets the runner up. You'll probably get an AD will probably get some consideration too if he stays healthy all season.
I don't think he does, Tone. I don't.
I can't believe that Evan Mobley is getting a DPOY before Bam. I can't believe it. I don't think he's better than Bam. I don't think so.
And I don't think Marcus Smart was better than Drew Holiday, but he won defensive player.
Well, that's me being a fan, right? That's me being a fan when it comes to Marcus Smart. Like,
I don't think Jaren Jackson is a better defensive player than Anthony Davis, but he did.
I feel like
you don't think he was? You don't think that year he was as dominant anchoring that Memphis defense?
I think very few times the best defensive player wins the defensive player of the year, and the reason is the way that it's picked is defensive stats, advanced defensive stats, and who's on the best defensive team, and narrative. Those are the four things that go into DPOY, and that doesn't always coincide with who's the best defensive player. No, and especially now, because he's going to argue that, low post big men are more important defensively. I'm going to say in today's NBA, it's perimeter defenders. And so the media is the same way. Some think one, some think the other. And if you look at it, it's typically big men who win it. But
it's almost exclusively a big man award.
Yeah, when you say who's better defensively, how can you compare a big man to a perimeter defender? It's tough to compare the two if you're comparing who's a better defender.
Jill, let's take it back to an era you loved watching basketball. You're not going to sit here and tell me Gary Payton was anywhere near the defender Olajuwon was. He wasn't.
I don't think he wasn't. I don't think he was better than Scottie Pippen, but that's another conversation.
Right, like you're just not like there's no selling.
If we're talking about over the last 10 years, we've had wing defenders win the defensive player of the year. Kawhi Leonard won it a couple of times. So we've had wing defenders win the defensive player of the year. So it's not primarily two big guys. One big guy has won it a bunch of times, and that's Rudy Gobert. He's won it 4 times, right? But for the most part, Marcus Smart, he's the first guard to win it since Gary Payton won it in 96. But other than that, we've had wing defenders win the defensive player of the year. Kawhi Leonard won it in back-to-back years. Draymond Green is a wing was a wing. They had him listed at the
that makes sense because like the quality of defensive bigs now is not what it used to be. So it makes sense that they're giving it to others.
You still have Gobert winning what 3, 4, 12.
Well, exactly. Like when you get a defensive anchor at the big man spot, like he's usually gonna win it out. You know what I'm saying? Like nowadays,
not true, because if that's true, then why isn't Anthony Davis won it? So that's just not true. No.
AD, that is a good point because I don't understand why AD doesn't win it.
Right.
He was the best defensive big. He was the best defensive big for however many years he was. However many years, and still they still haven't given him nothing.
That's partly narrative. I said that he's got a narrative that he's soft and that he's always hurt, and so they have that in their head. That's unfortunate.
That's crazy. I got that after we got with the Lakers.
I want to go back to the Bucks for a second because I told you this 2 weeks ago. I said they're going to win a bunch of games. They're going to shoot up in the standings, and we're going to start saying that they're good. But I think it's fool's gold. I want to go back just 10 games, maybe 11. Lost to the Celtics. They beat the Raptors, who stink. They beat the Pistons, who at the time, okay, they're a little bit better than we thought, but let's be honest. They lose to the Hornets. Ouch. They beat the Rockets. They beat the Bulls. They beat the Pacers. They beat the Hornets. They beat the Wizards. And then they beat the Pistons again. I'm sorry. 90% of those wins.
Yeah, they're beating who they're supposed to win. They're beating who they're supposed to beat. Sure, I won't argue that.
It's
They're
gonna
not even. They can't even beat contenders in the East, man. They got smoked out by the Knicks.
You
smoked
watch
them out.
next week. The next week, okay, Hawks fine, but then they got the Celtics, the Cavs. See, it's easy again. They got the Nets, the Bull. So you know what? Okay, they'll still go on a little run. They got good for them. I think they're fool's gold.
And I guarantee Giannis is not going to be higher in MVP votings because of it. They're still not going to put this man in top 3 MVP votes. I think that's ridiculous.
All right, Joe, good to talk to you, brother.
Appreciate it, man.
Absolutely, brother.
Go on.
Yeah, no doubt.
He hit. I didn't realize the time.
Yes, sir. We are out of time.
Damn.
You
got a playback tonight?
I do not. Not tonight. I don't.
You got the night off?
I do have the night off. No playback tonight. I got to get myself together. I'm going to meet my daughter, not tomorrow, but Thursday. So I'm going to meet my daughter and her cousins. We're going to go hang out for a couple
out
of days.
Of town or
yes, up in Jersey.
You're going to Jersey.
Up in Jersey.
You know where I'm going this week or next week?
Where you headed?
Let's see if you've ever heard of it. I'm going to Sudbury.
Sudbury. No, Sudbury sounds like a sundown town in the South.
Let me tell you, they had last week got 4 feet of snow.
They didn't have 4 feet, Tone. Are you kidding me?
4 feet of snow.
Oh my God.
I gotta wait for it to thaw a little bit before I'm gonna drive up there. It's a 3.5, 4 hour drive. And Mrs. Fluent says, "Be careful,
please."
I went there once, and there's nothing. You'll find moose roaming the road, and I don't know if you know, if your car ever hits a moose,
You're finished. Yes, it's like hitting a brick wall, Tone. That's exactly what it's like. The size of those things is huge. No,
I fought the moose, and the moose won.
Yes, you will.
So, other than that, I got nothing else. So, Jay, please take me away.
We will see you guys soon. Thanks for hanging out, guys. We appreciate it. But put on a suit, drink water, don't drink and drive. Hey, man, call your mother. I'm going to see my mother real soon. So call your mother. We will see you guys soon. But until then, take it light. We take it. Oh, Canada. Put on a suit, drink water, don't drink and drive. Hey, man, call your mother.
It means nothing. It means nothing.
Nah, they lying to you. It's about the money.
Now you're more fluent.